What's up, everyone? Back with Eric to do another AI deep dive. And today we really want to go into some of the tools that you could be using but may not be aware of. Some of these we just learned about recently ourselves. Some we've actually been using for a while. And I know you all get my perspective a lot. I wanted to dive deep into Eric's brain today and see what types of tools he's using for what use cases beyond just ChatGPT, which I'm sure most people are familiar with. We'll touch a little bit about projects today, but there's some other really cool tools that are advancing fast that I think should be on people's radar. So, Eric, appreciate you coming on as always.
Yeah, sorry to cut you off there. I just want to say, too, I'm excited about this because literally the only tool here that you even have to pay for, you don't even have to, but the $20 a month ChatGPT plan still is like the only thing we'd recommend you pay for. I'll get into that later. All of these other tools are free. And I've had several conversations with students of ours, with people who reach out, with people in the comments. And NotebookLM as one example, or Prompt Cowboy is something we're going to get into. They're still like, I'm amazed at how many people I show these things and they're like, wait, what? Like, you can use that and it's free with like literally my Gmail. So I'm really excited. People still are not aware of what's out there. And again, this is not a sponsored video. These are literally free tools out there. So excited to dive deep.
Same here. I guess what are we diving into first? Where are you taking us from here?
Yeah, the biggest thing I would say to people, if you get nothing else from this video, is Prompt Cowboy has completely changed my relationship with AI. So 6 to 9 months ago, I really started diving deep, really started getting serious. Like, to give you guys a real story, I was even going to downtown Austin. They had like prompt engineering classes. They were doing other things and like free public events because I was like, you know what? I haven't sat down and really tried to give AI a full go. One of the biggest nuggets I learned, and again, this is totally free here, promptcowboy.ai. And there's a couple other tools out there like this, by the way. This is just the one I like, I use, it works, so don't fix it. What this does is if you've been using like ChatGPT or Claude or Gemini or whatever it may be, instead of asking it like, hey, I need a YouTube title for a conversation I'm having with Connor Murray about the best AI sales tools that you can use for free. You might get, a decent answer if you threw that into ChatGPT, but it's not going to be super great. If I'm just prompting it, now I can use Prompt Cowboy to actually take this prompt and make it much more structured and detailed. And aside from the theory of what makes a good prompt, like the fact that you can structure this in such a great way, so effectively, so quickly, the results I'm actually getting out of ChatGPT are significantly better. And you can just as easily use this prompt with your preferred AI provider. Maybe you're a Claude user, maybe you're a Gemini, and we'll get into those things as well. But you can see just the difference in 10 seconds of giving it like a lazy prompt is what it calls it. And now this great prompt, again, I can't speak highly enough. If there's one thing you remember from this, it's a totally free tool. You just have to sign up for free. This has completely changed the game. The next thing I want to get into specifically for this is that not only for just like a simple, let me show you guys what I'm talking about here. So let's just say you pop into ChatGPT, right? So normally you just ask it that quick question. Now I just go over to Prompt Cowboy. I take that prompt that I just made and I grab that and I just take it over to ChatGPT. Looks like it's generating again, but you literally just copy it here and then we go from there. But I also, one of the biggest unlocks too, and I know Connor and I have talked a lot about this on our respective channels, is creating a dedicated custom GPT or project, or Gemini calls them gems. Claude, I think, I forget what Claude calls them, but they have a similar feature. You can actually come in here specifically and have it create a custom GPT agent prompt that's in even more detail. So let's just take like a very common example for sales reps of like, hey, I need an agent that takes a cold call transcript and formats it into my company's desired note format. This includes BANT, budget, authority, need, timeline, as well as the name of the person I called, the challenges they are facing, and why our solution could be a fit. And again, this as is like not a half bad prompt. It gets us in the ballpark. But by using Prompt Cowboy to specifically make this agent prompt, I'm going to have it spit this out real quick. just so much more detail, so much more dialed in compared to just your average, even simple project. So
I like that you are an expert sales call analyst with extensive experience in qualifying prospects and extracting key information from cold call conversations.
Yeah,
it's
just amazing. Oh yeah, no, it's amazing. It's fun, but it literally works. And like, these are the things, again, there's tons of videos out there now. There's, like I mentioned, in-person classes about prompt engineering. This is basically taking all of those best practices and using this here. And again, I now copy this and specifically creating an agent or a GPT. This is a great segue, honestly. If you're not aware, again, you can come in here and ask ChatGPT anything pretty standard. But if you have a repeatable task, another huge unlock that people are not taking advantage of, this does require the $20 a month plan. But I actually create a new project here, and I will call this like cold call note analyzer. So now with that prompt that was just created, I will actually come into ChatGPT, and I prefer creating a project. So I actually just created this one. All you have to do is literally hit new project and give it a name. So I just created this one for the sake of this video. It's completely blank. There's no instructions. But now what I'm going to do is come in and add these instructions that, again, I just got from Prompt Cowboy. I'm going to copy those. I'm going to hop back over here. And now I have extremely detailed instructions right out of the gate. And also, I might add, you don't have to stop there. You could come in here and even add on top of that, in addition to reviewing it, is like, here's an example of a perfect note set from a previous call, right? And then just copy paste a reference file here or in your instructions. And also, you can even add files. Maybe you have a PDF, maybe you have a screenshot, maybe you have whatever it may be, like a past customer call transcript. You can add these files here and give it all sorts of context and reference. And last note on projects, and Connor, feel free to chime in as well, is I want to give you guys a sense for, I use a YouTube idea generator, not because, we've been making content for years now, right? We know generally how to make good videos, how to do that. Some days, I need to offload my brain power, or Connor and I will have an idea for this podcast. And even before we hit record, we need to take all of those thoughts and have it come up with a catchy title, a thumbnail that really resonates with the audience. The reason specifically that I recommend projects is, as you can see here, it keeps the history. So if we want to come in and ask it a couple things about some past ideas that we had, like SDR ramping secrets, that's a podcast we launched in the past, we can. But the project is specific to your account, and it keeps the history of all the things that you ask it, all the results that it gives you. So it actually gets smarter over time. And in addition to the instructions that I've given it here about, what I want it to do, the types of videos I want it to make, the types of titles and thumbnails, it also is getting smarter. And when I'm interacting and saying like, hey, like I mentioned, like, we're creating a podcast about free AI tools. What's a good and catchy title? This is a very bad prompt. This is way more basic. But my point being is, it's going to use all the instructions and all the past interactions I've had with it to really give us a much better output right out of the gate. So a lot more I can get into. I'll pause because I feel like I've talked a ton. But this is the biggest thing, the combo of Prompt Cowboy. Using that to then create a project in your preferred AI tool of choice is a huge unlock, and we've got a lot more to cover.
Yeah, Prompt Cowboy is a game changer. I use it pretty much on a daily basis now. Pretty much my first stop anytime I'm making a project, or even if it's not a project and I'm just in a chat, I'll just use it to give myself a better prompt and a better output. I know you can also do deep research. I know you showed off like a standard prompt and a custom GPT prompt, but you can do deep research prompts in here too. If you want to create like an account research or a territory planning GPT and you want to set it for like 30 minutes to just dissect your territory, you can ask it. I'm sure all you'd have to type in here is like, hey, I need a really good prompt for an account research GPT or something, like super basic, and it'll spit that out. I know I've used it in the past for that.
Yeah, totally. I mean, very great example. This is very basic, but it's like, let's say I'm an account executive at MongoDB. I need you to act as an account executive and research why Verizon would want to drastically expand its usage of MongoDB. Again, a basic example. I would provide more if this was real time on my day job. But again, to Connor's point, Like deep research is a function in ChatGPT that goes really deep, creates a very comprehensive report, but you don't have to spend 30 minutes coming up with this super detailed prompt. Have this thing do the legwork. Yes, review it, see if there's anything you can add, you can tweak, you would change. But I mean, you can get insane results. Now you spit this thing over in ChatGPT, have it do some deep research for 30 minutes in the background, which, by the way, if you're not familiar, you just simply start a new chat and go into deep research here. You do this, and then it goes into like a really deep, like 20, 30-minute web search, all of those different things. Like, yeah, I mean, you just unlock so much by actually knowing what's there. And Connor, I know one of the things you wanted to call out, let me just start a new chat for everyone's reference, is like, to be clear, like you can also use it and interact with some of your existing documentation. I'll let you kind of guide me here, but this is one last thing in ChatGPT before we talk about other tools that people aren't aware of.
Yeah, this is one a lot of people aren't aware of. I know you mentioned adding project files and examples, which I think is great and you should do. If you click that plus button and go down to more, you can also connect it to, if you store your documents in Google Drive, so you don't have to constantly be updating the project files. It will pull from, if you have it nice and neatly organized, like meeting notes, account notes, whatever it is, it will pull directly from there in real time. And it's not showing up as an option here, maybe because it's just a personal account, but I know you can also connect this to your Gmail or Microsoft Outlook in your day-to-day work. Like if you have an example, like a WinWire, on like every time a rep wins a deal or something, you get an email, it will and you're like, hey, I need some examples of case studies or win stories we have in a certain industry. It will pull directly from your email in that WinWire. So yeah, it's another one I think a lot of people aren't aware of that I started using a lot more recently.
Completely. And I would say maybe on that note, it's a good transition to Gemini Gems. We'll get into that in just a moment, but it has a very similar feature. One of the things I've noticed with Gemini is you can actually provide it way more context than ChatGPT. And also it natively integrates with the full G Suite. So I think that's an interesting one. One I actually think a lot of people sleep on, and when I show people this, it always blows their mind. So if you, it's got an interesting URL. It's notebooklm.google, but if you just do a Google search for NotebookLM, this thing is awesome. Let's say you're an SDR, you're an account executive, you find as an example, like a podcast on YouTube of someone you really like, or you're trying to reach out to for any way, shape, or form. I want to show you guys how simple this thing is. And also you can see here, you can provide it a bunch of different context. But I'm actually going to go over, let's say, hey, you love Connor's channel. You want to reach out to him. You've watched his recent like how to cold email video, and or quite frankly, maybe you don't have time to watch an hour-long video, which is like full of insane gems. I'm going to actually grab this, pop over to NotebookLM. And what I can do is actually just link this YouTube video here. It's going to take a second to read in that transcript. I'm going to come back over to Prompt Cowboy. I'm going to go in here and say, I'm reaching out to Connor Murray, who is an expert SDR coach. I watched his hour-long video about cold emailing and need you to extract insights from the video and ask him if he'd be willing to talk for 10 minutes about the email cadence I designed based on his video. So I'm going to get this prompt out from Prompt Cowboy. Bear with me here. This is a huge unlock.
I'm getting blown up the next few days.
Yeah. Do not. We need some asterisk on this video. Like, do not actually do this. Connor is too busy. But like, so situation, task, objective, knowledge. And again, I want to compare this to, let's say you're prospecting as an SDR into an account. I mean, just think about how much time this is saving. Not even that it gives you 100% the right answer, but how much like manual Googling or not doing this at all that you're even doing. Now I can come back over here into NotebookLM. It has this ultimate guide to cold emailing and B2B sales. And I might add, just for reference, you don't just have to upload one. You can continually add up to like 100 different sources. This could be documents. This could be YouTube videos. This could be websites. It's going to crawl all of that. Now I'm going to take this prompt from Prompt Cowboy and let's see what it can give us. And it's literally going to scan through this YouTube video that's an hour long, pull out some insights, hopefully. And again, I can keep iterating on the results. But yeah, this is way too long. But again, it's a great starting point. And obviously, if you use Prompt Cowboy, you can give it an example of an email. You can pause this if you want to read it, but I'm going to come in here and say, whoa, this is way too long. I need a 3-sentence email max, 1 sentence.
It's definitely summarizing the points well. I'm
Yeah.
reading the bullet points, but yeah, like even just asking it to make it 50% shorter or something.
Yeah, 100%. And like as one example of many, it's like, hey, this is way too long. I need a 3-sentence email max. 1 sentence about a specific insight about the video. 1 sentence about how I already took his framework and noticed some results, but want to make it better. And the last sentence about a call to action to meet even for 10 minutes to review. Let's see what it gives us. And so again, the beauty to Connor's point, while that thing is loading, like these are all direct insights specifically from the video that it's pulling out. So again, you're going after the CEO of JP Morgan. You're going after some VP of sales at some company that recently went on a podcast. You can scan through an hour-long podcast and have it pull out an insight like right away. So yeah, and again, you can massage this even more and more. The one thing I will say is I have noticed, like I might even take this now to a GPT that I have, because I find, at least for me, ChatGPT, you can give it a little bit more prompting for writing emails and things of that nature. But now I can take this and very quickly get an email calling out these specific insights from the video. And, you know, hey, like last thing here is like, hey, you know, I need a better insight than what you've provided. What's the most impactful part of this video in 1 sentence?
As someone who's used, I think you've used Notebook LM more than I have. I've dabbled with it. What are the differences in the outputs you've noticed between ChatGPT and LM Note? Like, what are the advantages and disadvantages of each?
Great question. Notebook LM, again, if you want to parse through tons of videos, is like podcasts is, I would say, the #1 example. I don't have time to listen to an hour-and-a-half podcast to create an outreach email. I'm going to throw that in here. You can even ask it for the transcript of that audio file. But if there's like some long form media that you want to dissect really quickly, Notebook LM all the way. The one limitation to your point, and why I think ChatGPT and Gemini and things of that nature are better for writing, is you can't really, under the hood, I don't really think you can give it that many instructions, right? So all you see here when you are using Notebook LM is the ability to just upload Google Drive files, websites, YouTube, but you can't give it an instruction set and say, hey, like, I want you to scan all this information and create an email this way. You have to do it through the prompting. And again, like the underlying model here is pretty good. It gets me far. But now, to your point, I'm going to take this and I'm actually going to bring this over maybe more towards my actual ChatGPT project where, you know, as an example, I'm using your cold email assistant GPT. I'm going to say like, hey, I've created this email, but don't like it. Iterate on it based on the frameworks here. And so now, again, this thing is hard coded. It's just, a GPT is just like a project, guys. It just doesn't keep the history, and you can share this with other people, but it's not specific to your account. So you don't have the history like a project does. But again, it now comes in place. It's executing on exactly what I want all the time. So Notebook LM is a great way to take tons of disparate information, get the core essence of what you want, bring it over here to ChatGPT, and then get that final result right here. I'll pause. Yeah. I've got one more to show you guys in Gemini in the overall Google suite, but this is a huge time savings for me, especially for that really, really targeted outreach.
Yeah. Like in the synergies here, there's different tools out here that are better at certain tasks than others, and it can be effective using them together. So I know I've been doing more and more of that. Appreciate you showing us the different examples, but yeah, we can dive into the last one you wanted to take us through here.
Totally. I would just say, you know, at this time and towards the end of 2025, I do enjoy ChatGPT. I tend to find, especially with writing for sales, for customer facing activities, the outputs at the moment, I think are a little bit more consistent, a little bit higher level than Gemini. However, I will say I think Gemini is catching up. And also the really interesting thing I find about Gemini is twofold. They just launched Gems, and this is very similar to creating a ChatGPT project. So let's just, cold call analyzer. We've got those instructions from back in the past. So, I could just as easily pop back here in Prompt Cowboy, and grab the detailed instructions I had, copy paste them here, and then I save that. I've got one that's like a blog writer as an example, right? I'll give it some different examples. But the biggest thing I noticed with Gemini, one, I'm bullish on it long-term because it natively integrates with like anything from the G Suite. So I know ChatGPT does, and I'm sure it will improve over time, but especially if Google is building its entire model around the fact that it is the Google Suite, I think its ability to parse even larger data sets through an entire Google Drive, as an example, is going to be better over time. So for record keeping, for really strategic accounts or complex deal cycles, I'm testing this now with some of the clients that I have. And then also one of the things, just from a day-to-day prompting, Gemini can take way more input. So let's say you had like a 4-hour call transcript, totally fictional, but you can literally, I have never had a scenario where Gemini has told me, hey, I can't process all this information. Whereas Gemini, if I take like an 1.5 hour long call transcript, it'll be like, hey, I can't read this information. You need to break it down into smaller parts or try again. So that's a huge advantage when it comes to Gemini. If there's any thoughts here, I can pause. But one last thing I want to show, it's kind of a rare use case, but it's insane to me that this is free, is the image and video generation with Google Veo. Also free, also part of their AI suite. But anything there on Gems or anything to call out on your side, Connor?
No, I agree. I've started to dabble with it. I'm still a ChatGPT first guy personally. Maybe it's because I'm the most familiar with it and used it the most. I've found that the outputs are best there, but I do see the vision with Gems and how it would integrate with the whole G Suite and OneNote, Google Docs, everything like that. So I'm definitely keeping an eye on it.
Yeah. And just for everyone's reference, you just go to Gemini here. And if you want to access their Google Veo or image generator, I'm going to show the video because I think it's freaking awesome. By the way, it is the video does take like a minute or two to go. But again, all of this is enabled, and the incredibly crazy result you're about to see is because we have a detailed prompt created by Prompt Cowboy. So whether it's Prompt Cowboy, whether it's a different tool that you find, the prompting is everything. And so I'm going to go in here to Gemini and have it create a video. As one example of many I might use in my sales process is like, if I want to create something that kind of breaks the ice, I might take a company logo and have it create like a really exciting version of that. Or like, I don't know, there's many different examples, but the one I gave it here that I'm going to show you is like, let's say Connor and I were doing a live webinar. If you've ever been on a live webinar and you're in that waiting room and they have like some logo that's playing in the background with some hold music, if you will, for like, 3 to 4 minutes before, I don't know how to create that. I don't want to pay a designer to do that. So let me just go in here and show you. I'm actually going to take a higher levels logo and add that in here. So this is our higher levels logo. And then I'm going to go back to Prompt Cowboy. It specifically has prompts for Veo 3, the video prompt. And I'm going to say like, hey, I'm doing a podcast with Connor Murray, and we expect to have 100 people attend live. I need you to take our company graphic and make it an exciting visual for attendees that are waiting for the event to start. Our audience will be tech heavy and specifically is in customer facing roles. Now, especially with Veo or any image generation or video generation, you'll notice here in Prompt Cowboy that the best prompts for that are actually JSON data. Not, if you don't know what JSON data is, it doesn't matter. But my point being is I've experimented with just text prompts like this and then throwing it into Prompt Cowboy with this. It's not even close. I'm talking like 100x difference when you actually get the prompt in this format. It's just significantly better. So I'm going to jump over to Gemini again. And again, we've already just reiterating, we've come in here in the Tools tab and selected Create Videos with Veo. I'm going to re-grab this file just for reference. and then I'm going to put this prompt in here. And I will say this is going to take a minute or two. So maybe we cut this, Connor, and or if you're watching, you can skip ahead. Okay, so it's taken a minute or two. It's gotten us this result. And literally, this is something we used to pay people overseas to generate. It would take a week of lead time. You got to give them a lot of prompting. And I have no idea what this is going to look like. Let's see. I mean, that's pretty nuts.
The
right?
vision, if we just took out the company, but like everything about the visual is kind of money.
Let me even say, like, redo this instead of saying company, say.
I mean, yeah, that visual was clean.
But it's nuts. Like, this is free to use. This is insane. And I can't believe that people are not aware of this. And it's great. Oh, we'll cut to this iteration as well as soon as it's done. But again, like, this is a more niche case. I don't know that you're going to use this every single day in your sales workflow, but I mean, why not? Like, take your SMB company logo, if you have good rapport, if you think they would appreciate it, like I would go and download the company logo from a prospect you're going to, again, situationally appropriate, create an awesome visual. Or maybe there's something you want to demonstrate with a video. You're not going to wait for marketing for 3 months to make a 5-second video for you. See if you can get something here that's like respectable and really cool. I mean, to me, it's absolutely insane.
Yeah.
So.
Demo kickoffs as everyone's trickling in. You just got this thing sitting up there. Can you take this? Like, so let's say you like this video. How do you download it or move it to somewhere where it could be used? Or do you just like share your screen while
you literally just hit download? It's crazy.
Yeah.
So you can literally download this and it's free and clear to use. That's it. Like, it's nuts.
Yeah, pretty insane.
Okay, so this is the iteration. I want to say again, I have no idea what this is going to do, but my point being, I gave it this little text input of, hey, redo this, but save my company higher levels. Also, again, like if this thing is still off, I would go back to Prompt Cowboy and just update this prompt to actually say like, hey, like our company name is higher levels. Please include the text in the visual. Right. And so you can update that. I'm not going to do that for the sake of this video because I know we're deep in it, but let's see what it comes up with here. And again, just for reference, like you can literally download this as soon as it's ready, like free and clear, free for you to use. I mean, come on.
Yeah, that's sick.
Insane. That's ridiculous. Like that is something I probably wouldn't have paid for, especially when I was starting the YouTube channel, but like we have paid a non-trivial amount of money to get graphics for our video. And this is doing this with 5 minutes of work and the prompt being created for you with Prompt Cowboy. Like, I don't know if anyone else feels like that's as insane as
I'm fired up
right now.
I'm fired up.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. I'm blown away. And now I can literally download this and it's mine.
Yeah,
like,
it's sick.
It's nuts. So, whew, deep dive. Hopefully we still have people. That was, I don't know. I hope people get a lot out of this because I've had several conversations where we're talking about tools like this and people like know what they want, but actually just literally don't even know tools like this exist. Especially like Notebook LM, again, for summarizing those large YouTube videos or files or all of those different things, taking that result to either ChatGPT or Gemini and then enhancing it further. These are major workflows I'm using to save either significant amount of time for repeatable tasks and or doing things that quite frankly, I wouldn't have even attempted in the past and would have paid someone else to do. So yeah, it's incredible.
Agreed. Yeah, I appreciate you taking the time to run everyone through this. I know I'm trying to stay on top of it, and I think this is the way to do it. Like we're learning as we go as well. We all have some preferences. Like I use ChatGPT most heavily, but I know this landscape's going to change a lot over the next 2 to 3 years and beyond. So I just want to be at least familiar with what's out there and know what to dive deeper into. So I know that's why we made AI Sales Accelerator with 25 out of the box GPTs, and we're constantly keeping people up to date with what's going on in the industry and how we're using all these different tools. So you can check out the links in the pinned comment. You can join the community. Hope to see you in there. But yeah, Eric, again, appreciate it. I don't know, any final thoughts you want to share? Or I know we went pretty deep there.
Yeah, no, that's what I'd say. Whether you're interested in guidance from us through AI Sales Accelerator or literally just use this, like the primary way that I've learned is literally just trying a bunch of stuff. And like, I think it's hard to appreciate that you can literally just sit here with this thing and play with it for an hour and a half, totally free. and get like insane results. So that's my call to action. Whatever's best for you. If you want to expedite it, look into something like AI Sales Accelerator. But if you haven't used this yet, you are completely missing out. If nothing else, not to say, oh, you're falling behind, but like literally save yourself 5 to 10 hours a week. It's a no-brainer. So anyway, I hope people get a lot out of it. And yeah, thanks for having me.